Welcome to today's episode where we delve into the Vietnam War, a significant conflict that shaped the 20th century. The Vietnam War lasted from 1955 to 1975, and it was not just a battle between two nations, but also a clash of ideologies that involved the superpowers of the Cold War era. Join us as we unpack the causes, pivotal events, and lasting impacts of this controversial war, revealing its complexities and the human stories behind it. To fully grasp the Vietnam War, we need to start with its origins. After World War II, Vietnam was part of French Indochina, a colonial region under French control. As post-war nationalism grew, figures like Ho Chi Minh emerged, pushing for independence. Ho Chi Minh, a charismatic leader influenced by communist ideology, declared Vietnam's independence in 1945. However, France was reluctant to relinquish control, leading to the First Indochina War, which concluded with the French defeat at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in 1954. This battle was pivotal, showcasing the resolve of Vietnamese forces and forcing France to withdraw. The Geneva Accords temporarily divided the country at the 17th parallel. Ho Chi Minh established a communist regime in the north, while a Western-backed government was set up in the south. This division set the stage for conflict, with each side supported by different superpowers. The South was backed by the United States, which feared the spread of communism and adopted the domino theory. This theory suggested that if one country fell to communism, others in the region would follow, akin to a row of falling dominoes. Thus, U.S. involvement was framed as a necessity for preserving democracy in Vietnam. Tensions simmered throughout the 1950s, resulting in increasing U.S. military support to the South Vietnamese government. The conflict escalated dramatically after the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964. This event, portrayed by the U.S. government as an unprovoked attack by North Vietnamese boats on U.S. ships, led to Congress passing the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. The resolution granted President Lyndon B. Johnson broad authority to use military force in Vietnam without a formal declaration of war, marking a significant escalation in U.S. involvement. As more troops were deployed, the situation in Vietnam grew increasingly complex and contentious. While U.S. officials claimed that the war was being won, the reality on the ground was harsh and brutal. One key event was the Tet Offensive in early 1968, when North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces launched a surprise attack during the Vietnamese celebration of Tet, or New Year. This offensive caught U.S. and South Vietnamese forces off guard, leading to intense fighting in several cities, including Saigon. Although the offensive ultimately failed to achieve its military goals, it had a profound psychological impact, altering American perceptions of the war. News media coverage of the offensive brought graphic images of warfare into American homes, challenging the government's optimistic narrative. As the war progressed, incidents like the My Lai massacre further fueled public outrage. In March 1968, U.S. soldiers killed hundreds of unarmed Vietnamese civilians in a village, an event that was initially covered up but later exposed, sparking national outrage and raising ethical questions about the war. The anti-war movement in the U.S. grew exponentially, particularly on college campuses. Protests, including teach-ins and demonstrations, became widespread, reflecting a growing disillusionment with U.S. policies and actions in Vietnam. The release of the Pentagon Papers in 1971 revealed that U.S. officials had misled the public about the war's progress, further eroding trust. The conflict culminated on April 30, 1975, with the fall of Saigon, marking the official end of the Vietnam War. North Vietnamese forces captured the city, leading to the unification of Vietnam as a communist state. The end of the war had devastating consequences. Approximately 58,200 U.S. servicemen lost their lives, while estimates of Vietnamese deaths range from 1 to 2 million. The long-term effects of the Vietnam War resonated far beyond the battlefield. In the United States, it led to significant changes in war powers, particularly embodied in the War Powers Act of 1973, which sought to limit presidential authority in military engagements. Furthermore, veterans returned home forever altered, facing physical and psychological challenges, including PTSD. In Vietnam, the aftermath was equally profound, with many fleeing the country in search of safety and stability. Diplomatic relations between the United States and Vietnam remained strained until they were restored in 1995. Despite the complexities and tragedies associated with the Vietnam War, it remains a crucial part of both American and Vietnamese histories, serving as a reminder of the human cost of conflict. The war fundamentally transformed public perceptions of military engagement and has continued to influence U.S. foreign policy to this day. Today, we've explored the intricate history of the Vietnam War, from its roots in colonialism and the struggle for independence to its profound impact on both the United States and Vietnam. Key events like the Gulf of Tonkin Incident, the Tet Offensive, and the My Lai Massacre illustrate the complexities and human costs of war. The anti-war movement, driven by growing public dissent, and the eventual fall of Saigon symbolize the war's legacy. This conflict has shaped political and social landscapes and continues to be a pivotal reference in discussions about military engagement and national policy. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey through the Vietnam War. We hope that this episode has not only informed you about the events that unfolded but also encouraged you to reflect on the broader implications of such conflicts. To further your understanding, we encourage you to explore the additional resources we've mentioned today. Until next time, keep questioning and learning about the rich tapestry of history that shapes our world.